Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 4 and we will here we give a presentation about what will go on the curriculum. Uh, Before the presentation, let me introduce the member in our group. It is first is Rakin Dewanasari with student number 8 through 83201 and 022 and 2. And number 2 is Prima Laraga Vidya with student number 83201 and 0241. And number 3 is Salsa Blazer Rufani with student number 83201 and 0242. Okay, the first section is introduction. A measure of preoccupation of philosophy of education of an over the last 50 years has been the question of what should go on the curriculum. Notably less controversial than the question of what should go on the curriculum has been the question of what the curriculum is. Few have paid attention to the concept marked by the word curriculum, and the accounts produced by those who have a broadly similar Paul Hirsch defines curriculum as a program learning of activity as designed so that people will attain by learning certain specific table aims and objectives. On John Wilson's slightly fuller analysis, the word is only properly used for planned, sustained, and regular learning which is taken seriously, which has a distinct and structured content, and which process via some kind of stage learning. If for the purpose of this chapter we think of the curriculum simply as a planned program of learning, we shall do no serious injustice either to the ordinary usage or tacit assumption of those whose curriculum theories we shall discussing. There is, however, another and more continuous philosophical matter to which we must attend before coming on the main business of the chapter. Logically, prior to the question of what should go on the curriculum is the question of what could go on the curriculum. Okay? Section 2, what could go on the curriculum? At one level, the answer to this question is straightforward. The things that could go on the curriculum are just the things that can be learned. If curriculum is plain program of learning, it flows the range from which the content of curriculum must be drawn is the range of human beings can be acquired by learning. T.W. Hamlin writes, "At all events, on our ordinary conception of learning it would, I suggest, be impossible to suppose that someone could have learned something if he had not in some sense acquired, and it may, of course, include skill as well as factual knowledge." Well, on the face of it at least, learning that something is the case equivalent to coming to know that is the case, and learning how to do something is equivalent to coming to know how to do it. Moreover, the priest learned that P shares an interesting logical feature with the priest know that P it is necessary condition of the application of either priest that P is true. But the equation of what can be known may not be as defensible as it looks. For one thing, the truth criterion governing learn that P plainly does not given learn to think that P. Here we should feel uneasy about saying that she knows this fact, or at least oblige that put the word knows in inverted commas. But we should surely have fewer qualms about saying says that she has learned them. And it is only the area of professional learning that purpose connection between learning and knowing Lokashaki. Wilson argued that there are many things we learn to do which do not appear to involve acquisition of any short knowledge. He thinks say that learn means unequivocally something like acquire knowledge or control by paying relevant attention. The question of what could go on the curriculum then is a trickier one that it first appears, and one to which further philosophical attention is badly needed. Perhaps, however, enough has been said here to indicate that the range from which the content of school curriculum must be selected is a good deal broader than is often supposed. Okay, for the next session will be read by Rakinza.
The academic curriculum. The basic components of the school curriculum should be academic subject or disciplines. By Petters, in his book Ethics and Education, justification rests on two claims. One, that initiating people into theoretical activities is just what the word education means. Petters declines to offer a definition of education, but instead identifies a number of criteria to which processes must conform in order to qualify as educational. 2. That theoretical activities are worthwhile because truth is valuable, and he sets about proving the value of truth by means of two transcendental arguments. Patterns to transcendental arguments pick out different logical connections between engagement in practical discourse and commitment to truth. The kind of curriculum for which Petter argues is precisely the kind of curriculum currently found in British schools. There are some serious problems with Petter's defense of the academic curriculum. Take first the conceptual claim about education. Petter's transcendental arguments have attracted a number of criticism. The worry here is that the transcendental arguments do not amount a justification. Even if the transcendental arguments are successful in demonstrating the worthwhileness of theoretical activities, it doesn't follow that this activity should be the basic components of the curriculum. For there may be other activities that are equally or more worthwhile. If justice, love, and pleasure are also valuable, then the activities that have distinct others as their ends must also qualify as worthwhile. Next is the vocational curriculum. According to defenders of the vocational curriculum, the first test of school is to equip children and young people, not with expertise in academic disciplines, but with the skills, understandings, and critical capacity they will need in their professional and everyday lives. Vocationalists are emphatically not arguing for a curriculum based on skill rather than knowledge. Much philosophical work in support of the vocational curriculum has been concerned with exploding the myth that knowledge and understanding are the preserve of the academic disciplines. The objection that can advance against the vocational curriculum is the problem of how to decide which vocation or occupation pupils are to be prepared for. Considerations such as this stem one back toward the thought that in academic education concerned to impart a broad and general range of knowledge and understanding is preferable to a vocational one. The solution to this problem is to retreat from advocacy of vocational education to advocacy of what they sometimes call pre-vocational education. The aims of imparting a general understanding of the academic and of enabling young people to make informed choices about work are unexceptionable. What worries critics of pre-vocational education is the suggestion that these things are best achieved through generic vocational programs. Moreover, pre-vocationalists are perhaps too greedy to dismiss the potential of the academic curriculum to deliver the desired outcomes of economic understanding and informed choices about work. The academic disciplines of economics and sociology may be at least as well placed as the generic vocational domains of media and manufacturing to yield economic understanding and informed choices about work.
The virtue-based curriculum, a different sort of challenge to the academic curriculum, is the one posed by defender of what we shall call the virtue-based curriculum. According to this challenge, the problem with Peter's position is not so much that he is wrong to regard theoretical activities as worthwhile, as that question about the worthwhileness of activities are the wrong ones to be asking. The question with which we should begin when constructing the school curriculum is rather what sort of people do we want children to be? And the kind of answer to which this question give rise will not list of worthwhile activities, but list of personal qualities or virtue. Next is conclusion. We note at the outset that there are deep differences of philosophical opinion on the question of what should go on the curriculum. What will now be clear is that this is, in part at least, a consequence of the fact that all the leading curriculum the theory is philosophy of education are vulnerable to rather compelling objection, notwithstanding the considerable quantity of philosophical inks spilled on the matter. Satisfactory answer to the most basic normative questions about the curriculum are yet to be advanced, and the need for further philosophical work remains pressing. There is our presentation. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.